All right, you guys, so I'm super salty right now. I have now filmed this video twice and I'm filming on my phone right now because I don't know how to work my camera. And I was filming on the back camera because it's better quality and I can't see that it stops recording. So I record the entire video and then find out that it wasn't even recording. So I deleted some stuff on my phone so it would stop ending the recording, and I have flipped it around so I can now see that it is still recording. It's just going to be worse quality, so sorry about your luck. But I told you guys in my last video that I would answer some questions for you guys, so to leave comments down below with any questions you might have about MLMs or my experience with it works or whatever. And yeah, so you guys gave me some questions to answer, and some of them are pretty juicy, but we're gonna go for it. I did ask on Instagram like an hour ago, so maybe I'll do like a part 2 if more questions roll in after the hour, because I think there was only like 3 on there at the time that I started filming this. So if there are more, I'll do like a part 2 or something. But let's just go ahead and get on into it. So first things first, the most important question on this sheet of paper is, what is this white thing by my bed? A lot of you guys had that burning question. And at first I said it's a wooden spoon for, you know, activities, if you know what I'm saying. But it's actually just a reading light. My husband reads his book at night and I wake up to anything, and so he just uses the reading light instead of having the big light on. Nothing exciting. But a lot of these questions kind of like go together, so I'm going to combine some of them and just answer it all at once just to kind of get through it faster, since I have recorded this twice now. But after that question, the next question was, how do the bonuses work? And there's another question that kind of goes along with this one. So there was, how do the bonuses work? And then what is the catch with the bonuses? So the bonuses are basically, like, I'm sure you guys have seen me posting, like, I earned $100,000 in bonuses or whatever. Like, no, I was not written a $100,000 check, and no, it didn't work like that. So basically, like, the higher ranking that you are, or the higher rank that you're going for, the higher the bonuses were. And so what would happen is, if you were earning like a $100,000 bonus or a $50,000 bonus, it is portioned out to be paid over the next like 2 years. I think it was like 26 months. So just over 2 years. Don't quote me, I'm not trying to get sued. But some time span around 2 years, the bonuses were paid out. However, there was a catch with it, which most people failed to mention, including myself. And the catch was that if you do not maintain your rank, you lose that bonus. And at one point they had a bonus thing where like you could get your bonus back if you got back to that rank by a certain time. But for the most part, generally speaking, once you lost your bonus, it was gone. And so just like any other business, it has like busy seasons and then it has really slow seasons. So right after the annual conference in like late January, early February, things would boom and businesses would blow up and go crazy and people would make the most money they've ever made. And that's when they would have the bonuses out. But they knew as soon as the slow season hit, which the busy season lasted maybe like 3 or 4 months, and then it would start slowing down. And then by like, let's say like fall time, it was very, very slow. And so what they would do is they would offer these huge incentives. People would hit these ranks, and then 99.9999% of the time, a couple months later, people weren't maintaining their ranks anymore, and so they never ended up paying out the entire bonus. So it was a nice raise for a few months. So, you know, like $50,000 bonus across 26 months or whatever was a good chunk of change for a few months. But it ended very quickly. So that's the catch with the bonuses. The next question, there's 2 questions that kind of go together again. Do the products actually work? And did you use the products or just pretend to? You guys have probably seen my before and after pictures floating around. It's really funny how the people who hate me and talk poorly of me and disowned me are still using my pictures to capitalize on, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, so you guys have probably seen my pictures floating around. I used mainly the keto coffee and the chocolate greens. My kids loved the chocolate greens. And I drank the keto coffee in the mornings during like an intermittent fasting. So I guess it wasn't really fasting because there was a lot of stuff in the coffee. But I did feel like that it definitely like suppressed my appetite until my like intermittent fast was over, and that maybe it helped aid in my weight loss. But you guys also know that I like bust my butt in the gym, so who's to say that those results wouldn't have happened if I wasn't drinking the coffee. But yes, I actually did use them, and yes, I felt like it worked for me. Okay, so the next question is, there's two that go together again. Did you notice / see a lot of mom manipulation to get women to sign up? And then also, did you target postpartum moms? And the answer to both questions is yes and yes. But I will say, like, when you're under this spell that somehow MLMs put you under, you don't realize like what you're doing. Like, thinking back now, if someone would have approached me when I was going through postpartum depression, or when I was going through my very, very dark state when my husband deployed, if someone would have approached me with some business opportunity like this, I would have been so disgusted. But when you're in it, it's like you feel like you are lucky to be staying home with your kids, and that you are blessed to not have to take off work for holidays and all of this. So you feel like you are actually doing these people a favor by targeting them during these vulnerable times. But then there's also like the other end of it. Like me, I'd be disgusted if somebody came to me when I was in a state like that and was trying to sell me something. But then there's this other side of like postpartum moms who kind of like lose themselves during motherhood, and they just need to feel that like connection and sisterhood with people. And so they're very vulnerable, and they will just latch on to anything that makes them feel a part of something. And so I can't say they, because I was doing it too, just preying on people who are vulnerable and shouldn't be making decisions like that in the mental state that they're in. So yes, there was a lot of manipulation as far as like, man, you know, like the casual post, like, man, I'm so glad that I get to stay home with my kids. Like, I cannot imagine having to drop them off at daycare every day. Like, I made those posts all the time. And I did feel lucky. I can't stress that enough. Like, I did feel lucky to not have to take my kids to daycare and whatnot. But looking back now as an outsider, it is the absolute wrong way to go about it. And it's gross. It's like you're insulting someone to try and benefit yourself. And it's just, yeah. And let me just say, I never targeted postpartum moms for the reason that I thought they needed to like lose weight, or I thought they were fat, or I thought they were whatever. Like, none of that ever crossed my mind. It was always like the business opportunity because of staying home with their kids. And also because it benefited me. There's a couple of questions on here about the annual conference. So I guess I'll talk about that. So the first question was, what is the real vibe of those conferences? They seem almost cult-like, which is funny. And then, why did my upline push the conference so hard? So I'm going to assume this person was with It Works, and their upline was like pushing them to go to the conference. And the reason that they were pushing you to go to conference is because it's cult-like, in my opinion, obviously for legal reasons, in my opinion. But yeah, so it's a lot of like rah, jump up and down of watching people who started from the bottom and are now at the top and living these lavish lifestyles, and a lot of like personal development, brainwashing, if you want to call it. Yeah, just like surrounding yourself with like-minded people, you know. But one of the most embarrassing things about like all of this, I was talking to my friend about this the other day, one of the most embarrassing things about all this is like, we freaking worshipped the top leaders and like the top income earners within the company. And it's so embarrassing, but like, I'm not lying when I tell you that we literally cried cried real tears when we were meeting these people who were like at the top of the company, and we felt like they were celebrities, and like we got all nervous around them and asked to take a picture with them. Like, that is cult-like. I don't care what you say, but like, that is cult-like. Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. Anyways, moving on. Oh, and yeah, nobody is going on a paycation when they're going to those. Everyone's paying for all of their own stuff. There were people sleeping in bathtubs with like 10 girls to a room because people could not afford to be there. But uplines pushed it so hard because that's when business started booming, is when people would go to these conferences and get all hyped up and ready to go, and businesses would take off after that. So that's why your upline pushed it. But no, it was not a paycation, and people went into crazy debt trying to get to those and slept in bathtubs. This one's funny. What's the purpose of those comment below to be entered into my cash giveaway posts? I think this is so funny because like looking at these posts now, it's hilarious to me that like these people are like claiming that they're just giving away $100. And first, let me say that's not the case. What happens is they get a bunch of people from their team together and they say like, how much money can you put in this month to make this pot of money that we can do a cash giveaway? And so if everybody gives like $5, then we have $100 that we can give away. So the catch with that is, well, there's a couple catches. It's not just your name that's being put in with that person's potentials. It is the names of all of the team's potentials going into a huge pot that every person has put in like $5. So your chances are very, very slim at winning. But also, you don't just comment and get entered into the drawing. That's not how it works. What happens is you comment to get entered. They message you and ask you to post on your page for an entry so that they can tap into your friends list and your potentials on your page. And then they enter you into this drawing that has the potentials from everyone else on their team for this $100 giveaway. So that's the same kind of idea with, I don't know if you guys have seen like the last person to say goose. It's like usually around the holidays they do this post, like the last person to say goose gets $100 or something like that. And then they post like duck, like everybody posts duck, 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 duck. I don't know, I'm like mixing this up, but the post where it's like duck, 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 and then I say goose, and then the last person who said duck before I said goose gets $100 or whatever. It's like the same idea. And a large part of it is like boosting your algorithm and the traffic on your page. So if you have a post that is getting thousands of comments, like one right after another, Facebook is going to push that into the algorithm and your page is going to be seen more. So that's the idea behind those. Yeah. The next question is about taxes. And it says, can you actually write things off on your taxes because it's a business? And yes, you can. So since you're a 1099 employee, not an entrepreneur, however, we won't talk about that today. Since you're a 1099 employee, you can deduct things that have to do with your business. So since I ran my business from my phone, you can deduct like a portion of your cell phone payment depending on how much of your cell phone usage was due to your business. You can deduct just portions of stuff like your home office. You can deduct a portion of your rent based on how big your home office is, mileage or travel if you're going to the conferences or whatever. So yeah, you have those like business deductions that you can claim on your taxes because they don't take taxes out when they pay you, which is another huge thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Like if they say, oh, I'm making an average of like $7,000 a month or whatever, taxes aren't taken out of that. So then at the first of the year, like people are getting hurt financially. I think this is the last question on this one. So this last question is a juicy one. Maddie, you just did not hold back here, but I'm going to answer it. So the last question is, what is the biggest lie that you told someone below you? And I will say that I never, to my knowledge that I can think of, like outright lied to people. However, there was a lot of stretching of the truth. So there was a lot of me claiming that I'm making X amount of money and you can too kind of stuff. when actually I was making like well below the average for whatever rank I was at. And I knew damn well that most people will not be able to do what I did. The highest paid person on my team was making around $1,000 a month max. And so I knew, and she was a hard worker at times, so I knew that most people wouldn't be able to accomplish what I accomplished. However, I said that because it would keep them plugged. Excuse me. This was an emotional support water bottle, but I'm using it. I said these things to keep them plugged in and keep them motivated so that they would continue signing up their family members or getting their family members and friends to buy product and whatever so that I could continue growing my team. And another point to go off of on that is like they preach residual income and that like you're getting residual income by building your business or whatever, but you're actually not, because what happens is you're building your team, and as you're building your team, people are falling off, like a lot of people. And so I would say like 1 or 2 out of every 10, probably 1 out of every 10 actually like stick for longer than a couple weeks. So you're like building, but as you're building, these people are falling off. So it's not residual income, because if you stop doing anything, like these people would just fall off and your team would just crumble. So anyways, that's all the questions I have on this one. Like I said, if any more pop up on Instagram, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Now that I have no ties to them, it's my understanding that as long as I'm telling my truth and I'm not spreading false information to make the company look bad, which I'm not, I'm sharing my experience. As long as I'm doing that, then I am free to talk about my experience with it. So I have no problem owning up to all the stuff that I did wrong, and I know there was a lot. So if you guys have any more juicy questions, let me know and I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video.